At the weekend, Jumbo-Visma excitedly announced that they'd signed a new rider, Belgian pro Cian Uijtdebroeks. Can you tell me how that's actually pronounced?
Cian Uijtdebroeks.
Oh, did I? Was that
You're
right?
right, yeah.
So the phonetic writing of this on my screen has actually worked really well. Thank you, Emily. But bosses from his current team, Bora Hansgrohe, were left scratching their heads because he's apparently still under contract with them until the end of 2024. So the 20-year-old rider is a strong up-and-comer. He finished 8th in the Vuelta. And Jumbo-Visma clearly thought that it was a done deal, putting out a gushing press statement that he is the perfect fit for their team. But Bora Hansgrohe responded with their own statement saying, Cian is and will remain a member of Bora Hansgrohe. He is contractually bound to us until the 31st of December 2024. So there's two teams basically saying he's under contract to them. Cian's management company then got involved, saying that he had started legal proceedings. They hadn't commented on a precise reason for the contract termination, but Dutch newspaper AD alleges that the rider felt bullied by the riders and the staff. The team has denied the allegations. Do you know anything? Have you come across this story?
Yeah. It's a bit of a mess, really, isn't it? Roglic has gone the other way. He actually terminated his contract with Jumbo in October.
Right.
Because it all depends on your contract, I suppose. If you can terminate it, there must be some sort of get-out clause in it.
Yeah.
And Roglic's get-out clause, but he must have loads of them in his contract.
Yeah.
But, Uijtdebroeks is quite a young guy. We don't know what his contract is like, or how good his agent is. I know that Roglic's agent is a guy called Mattia Galli, and he's an amazing agent.
Yeah.
He looks after Vingegaard as well. Yeah, he's a very, very good agent. So I'm not sure how good Cian Uijtdebroeks is. And it all depends what's in his contract, really. So we don't know the actual full story.
I guess he must be confident enough that there is some kind of termination clause in there for him to have agreed a contract with someone else. But there's obviously some kind of missed communication somewhere, isn't there, for this to have happened?
I think his agent must have told him to say what he has to say, because it's obviously that he wants out of the team. He kind of slagged off his team at a few of the races, I think, and he complained about the equipment as well, about his bike or whatever. So it's obviously he doesn't want to be there. He's obviously not on enough money. Well, he thinks he's not on enough money, and he's been touted as the new Eddie Merckx, another new Eddie Merckx. And he obviously wants more money, and that Jumbo are obviously offered it to him. So yeah, we shall see. And today, Jumbo announced that he's going to their training camp today. I think it's in Spain somewhere, so probably Denia, but or Calpe.
So it is all a bit of a mess, isn't it?
Yes, but if there's a rider and he's outspoken, saying I don't want to be in this team,
why would you want them?
Yeah, because the team then is going to go. It's going to give them so much bad press next year. Imagine if they kept him and go, "Yeah, you're not going anywhere," and he's just there being miserable,
kicking off every opportunity,
and slagging the team off again. It's not going to look very good at all. So there has to be some sort of compensation thing involved, And I think Bora want as much money as possible out of him and from Jumbo.
Well, I guess a lot of it comes down to that, doesn't it? Because there might be some kind of clause, a bit like the football stuff, where there needs to be compensation to Bora Hansgrohe, and therefore, if they go, no, we really wanted him, then they've got a public case for, well, you're going to have to make sure we're appropriately compensated, rather than we wanted to get rid of him anyway.
Yeah, well, a similar thing happened last year in F1. There's a driver called Oscar Piastri, and he was with Alpine, and he was their test driver for 4 years. And Alpine said, Oscar Piastri is going to be our second driver next year. And he just tweeted, oh, no, I'm not. Because he then went to McLaren.
Yeah.
So it was a very, very similar situation there. But he went on Twitter and said, I'm not staying with you guys. I know you've spent all this money with me, training me up as an F1 driver, but I'm going to McLaren, they've got more money than you.
Yeah,
So,
I guess. If you've got the opportunity to join a team which on paper is doing better, why wouldn't you?
absolutely.
And I guess it's the same for
yes.
this lad here with Jumbo-Visma.
Well, Jumbo are the best team on the planet at the minute, and why wouldn't you want to go there? I mean, you've got Vingegaard and you've got Kuss. They're not. They might retire in a few years, but Uijtdebroeks is like 20 years old, so him in 5 years' time will be in the same situation as Vingegaard. And if he's the new Merckx, he's going to win loads of Grand Tours.
Mm-hmm. If I was a junior as well, I would want, if I had the opportunity to be in a team where I could learn from someone more experienced that has achieved the stuff that I want to achieve, that seems like a no-brainer to me.
Absolutely. And I mean, just look at their roster. It's just a nuts roster. You know, with Wout van Aert and Christophe Laporte, just those two guys, and their classics and classics team, Dylan van Baarle, it's just an amazing team. And if I was a 20-year-old, I'd want to be in that team as well. And I would want to double my money. It's a no-brainer, really. So this will be a storm in a teacup for a couple of weeks. And then I think, we'll see him in, it's Jumbo Lisa bike next year, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
Yeah. I think we'll see him in their strip.
On the subject of their current roster and big pro contract disputes, Wout van Aert found himself being sued for breach of contract in 2019 by his old team when he joined Jumbo-Visma. Van Aert originally won his case and avoided 1.1 million euros in damages, but the decision was overturned in 2021 and Van Aert was ordered to pay 662,000 euro compensation for his move to Jumbo-Visma. So I wonder if Jumbo-Visma just throw money at getting the best talent and don't care about what the consequences.
Well, it kind of reminds you of Sky. Just chuck a lot of money at a lot of very, very good cyclists, and that's how you end up getting the best team.
At this point, legal proceedings are still ongoing, and we'll have to watch this space to see what actually happens over the coming weeks. On the subject of being a commentator, how do you deal with hard to pronounce names? Because I'm rubbish at pronouncing names at the best of times, as clearly shown by your name, which is Welsh, and me being Welsh, and I should be able to pronounce it. How do commentators get it right?
Well, because we do it in the Welsh language, we're all bilingual. Some of us are trilingual as well. I used to know French. My French is terrible now. I used to be really good at French. And another one of the guys is a fluent Spanish speaker. Another one is a German speaker. So there's a lot of that involved. Because we're bilingual, it's a lot easier for us to pronounce names that aren't from the UK.
Yeah.
So and we actually do go through the names before the racing starts, just to make sure. There's a list on the wall in our comm booth with all the riders and all the dodgy pronunciations. We'll go through them, make sure that they're right, and then find if there's one we're not quite sure, we will find out. Because there's plenty of, you just have to Google it and you will find out.
Is your memory good enough to remember it, or do people write things out phonetically?
My memory's good enough. Some of them, I've got photographic memory anyway, so I'm really lucky that way. But because we're bilingual, we've got kind of bit of an advantage there anyway. So and one of our other languages being Welsh, which is a notoriously difficult language to pronounce anyway. I think that's another advantage.
How did you actually get into cycling commentating? Well,
a friend of mine worked for this production company, and he'd seen me putting up photos on Twitter of me up on Stelvio or wherever. And he phoned me up and said, "You like cycling, don't you?" I said, "Yeah." I said, "All right, I said, right." And we're putting together a pitch for Esparec, for S4C, to try and get the Tour de France. Would you like to be involved in it? I went, "Yeah." So that was it. And he phoned me back 6 weeks later and he said, "Oh, we got the gig. What are you doing in July?" That's when I said, "I'm touring." So, never done anything like that. I'd done some TV stuff in the past, well, quite a lot of television stuff, but I'd never done any sports stuff. And I'd certainly never done any commentary. So we were in at the deep end. So I do commentating. I also do punditry on location as well. So I'd be stood there at the finishing line with a microphone, just talking about the race that's just happened or whatever. And I do some interviewing as well. So, so the first day would have been in Yorkshire, 2014, and I was in front of the camera talking about sports, which I'd never done in my entire life. And no rehearsal, just went bang straight in, which is a bit nuts. It's
a good job you're a cycling geek then.
Yes, yeah, I do know quite a lot about it because I'm a bit of a nerd. So I think that's why they got me in to do it.
Yeah. So the show is in Welsh language.
Yeah.
And then obviously you're not interviewing people in Welsh, so presumably you just drop into English for the interviews.
Sometimes we do interview people in Welsh. Stevie Williams, in fact. I interviewed him in Welsh at the Giro this year. So some of the Welsh riders do speak Welsh.
I'm assuming Geraint Thomas is like me in that he doesn't actually speak Welsh.
He understands a bit. He speaks a little bit. Sarah, his wife, worked with us for the first 2 years on the show. So, and Sarah's a first language Welsh speaker. So she's been teaching him, but he knows a bit of Welsh. So